Ladies and gentlemen, it is my deep and abiding pleasure to introduce from Boston University,
Twilight Zone.
from WEEI in Boston, Paul Flannery. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I think I have some backlighting issues here, but otherwise I'm doing all right.
Well, that's okay. Well, we'll just think of you as a doppelganger for Ricky Davis, and it'll actually be a nice little image for people to have in their mind when the voice from the dark comes in.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah, you didn't think it was going to go this way, did you? Let's jump right into it. The Celtics are having a really weird year. Let's start at the top and work our way down to the players. How do you evaluate Danny Ainge and what he's done since 2008?
All right, yeah, let's just go with the big one right off the top. There, you can nitpick certain things that he's done that haven't worked out. Obviously, you know, it's funny, the Perkins trade has not worked out at all for reasons kind of out of their control. I mean, not having Jeff Green was a very big deal. That Clippers pick looked really, really good when they acquired it. Top 10 Clippers pick always looks good. And then all of a sudden, you know, the Clippers are doing what they're doing. So, and then Nate Kristich goes off and signs in Russia, which they were going to bring him back. So nothing has really worked out there. But what he's done is he's positioned them to be able to rebuild this thing right away without having to go through like a 3-4 year period where they're, you know, like the Pacers did, where they're stuck with these, you know, like the Troy Murphys of the world making $11 million that they can't wait to get off the cap. So on one hand, I think he's done fairly well. You know, I think he tried to extend this run as long as he could. Things didn't work out. Rasheed Wallace didn't work out. Jermaine O'Neal has been sort of hit or miss. You know, some things haven't worked out. Some things have. I think overall the long-range plan has been correct. Whether or not he can execute it now, that's going to be the huge thing.
You've got a few young players that have shown some promise too. Bradley, Etuan Moore, and Juwan Johnson. Are you optimistic with those three, that they can be at least pieces that maybe you could move for something valuable if he doesn't like them long term?
Yeah, I mean, you know, that's the thing. When this season started, they had no young assets that anybody wanted. You know, nobody knew what Avery Bradley was going to be. Nobody really knows what he's going to be now, but he's something. And that's more than he was, you know, back when the season started. Juwan Johnson has flashed some nice ability. Etuan Moore has flashed some nice ability. So on the one hand, yeah, they might be some pieces for a move down the line. On the other hand, you need young players who can play in this league just so your cap isn't so bloated. I mean, you know, look at the Lakers. They don't have a whole lot of young talent who can actually play. So now they've got a couple guys who, because of injuries, are filling out, you know, roles in rotation, all that kind of stuff. So that's, you know, that's good. That's one of the few positive things from this first half of the season.
Well, and of course the best young asset, I guess, that the Celtics have is Rajon Rondo, and whether or not they keep him. I was thinking about this today, and we've tweeted back and forth a little bit about him, what a strange player he is. And I think what really does it for me is I think he might be the most context-dependent good player in the NBA. And yet, so you know, like a lot of what he does seems like it's based off what's around him. I mean, that doesn't sound like a very profound thought. But he also kind of creates things out of nowhere. And he'll make those broken plays that don't need any scripting. It doesn't matter who the other 9 people are on the court. He's going to get, you know, make some of those squirrely little plays. As some, you know, trying to think about him on the market and even just as an asset for the Celtics to keep, is it possible to come close to thinking of an absolute value for this guy on a basketball team?
Yeah, to me, this is the key question of all questions. I wrote this today, actually. I mean, it's possible he's outgrown this team because the other 3 guys are having a really hard time keeping up with him, really. You know, I think he and Garnett still work really, really well together. But so the question that the Celtics have, amongst others, are do you rebuild around Rondo? And if you do that, you have to build a really specific team around him. Or do you try to get, you know, what you can from him and then really start over from scratch? And so I think that's really the internal conversation that's going on right now. You know, is there something good you can get for Rondo that will make this rebuilding process better? Or, you know, do you trade one of these older guys and get people? I mean, look at what he's done for Chris Wilcox, who is was essentially a non-entity in 10 years in the NBA. And they played together, I think, 3 games last week. Wilcox scored 37 points. I looked it up. He had something like 13 shots inside, and 10 of them were on assists from Rondo. But he doesn't have anybody else he can play with like that. I mean, Jawan Johnson has shown a little bit of ability, but these guys can't get up and down the floor with him. So if you do rebuild around Rondo, you have to build a specific team around him. And, the other alternative is maybe somebody gives you 1 or 2 pieces for him, and then you just completely start over from scratch. I think that's really where they're at right now.